appreciate it, y'all. Appreciate it. I'm not the best speaker. I'm more comfortable rapping behind the mic. But you never can go wrong when you share your heart. And I know when I was in junior high and high school, I was a very shy person. I didn't really, get in front of people and speak and show out. Like I wouldn't have been the guy with the Colgate, what is it called? Shaving cream, you know. Doesn't Colgate make shaving cream too? Yeah, well they make shaving cream too. See? One day when you shave, you'll know. But anyway, I didn't mean like, never mind, forget about it. That was not a joke. Anyway, started out offending somebody. It's more for guys. So anyway, I was always a shy guy, right? I told you I couldn't speak that way. But anyway, I was asked to come and just share my testimony. And I have several testimonies since I gave my life to the Lord. But I'm a rap artist. I've been rapping for the Lord about 12 years. But about 5 years prior, I was rapping what you guys listen to nowadays, or some of you listen to, gangsta rap. And I was basically following the trends of that time. I grew up in the inner city of Houston, Texas, a place we call the North Side, right around I-45 North, 610 North, close to downtown in that area. And I gotta admit, living out in the suburbs now, I live in Copperfield. I wasn't used to neighborhood swimming pools. I wasn't used to, retreats. Like now as a rap artist, I get to go to these youth retreats. I get to see a variety of youth groups. And I look back and I'm like, wow, I missed out on a lot of fun because of the environment I was in, and also because of not being in Christ and being a part of a church. I see a lot of the church youth groups now and I'm like, man, it really seems like these youth are just giving everything. I go to England and this place called Rotherham, and we're going in about 2 weeks, and this town, they have nothing for the youth, absolutely nothing. And so at 14 years old, they're out getting drunk, they're out partying, getting high, because there's nothing else for them to do. There's not really a youth group that's crunk like y'all's, where y'all can have music and y'all can have games and y'all can put shaving cream on people's faces and throw Cheetos out. They don't really do that, And growing up in the inner city, I became attracted to this culture known as hip-hop. Now, if you've heard of hip-hop, just throw your hand up like this if you've heard of it. Hip-hop, okay. For those of you that don't know, hip-hop is a culture, and it started out with 4 basic elements: DJing, graffiti art, breakdancing, and then what I do, the MC, the rap artist. Those 4 elements, I guess it was in the late 80s, is when I got involved in the hip-hop culture. And I remember going to Moody Park, this inner city park, and I saw these guys breakdancing. I heard this song, Rock, Rock to the Planet Rock, Don't Stop. And from that day forward, I just went and I bought that record. Then I saw that there were DJs. I bought me some turntables. I think I tried everything. I remember going into bars as a little elementary school kid and dancing with a friend of mine. I would try to pop lock, and we pass the hat around and try to make a little bit of money. And I wasn't that good, so they didn't give me that much. But anyway, we would go in these bars and do that. And we were just kids, running around the neighborhood basically. Going on up through junior high, I got involved in sports, still loving the hip-hop culture, still listening to hip-hop music. And hip-hop music was pretty fun back then. It was lighthearted. It wasn't so violent, it wasn't so nasty, explicit. But throughout junior high, this music I was listening to, it became a bit more conscious or political. So you had groups like Public Enemy, and some other X-Clan and militant type groups. And you had hip-hop covering themes that reflected the inner city that no one else really knew about. Well, then in the 90s, which is when I started entering the high school, this gangsta rap stuff started with NWA. And then we began the gangsta rap era. We see, even the explicit era where 2 Live Crew and groups like that bring in pornographic rap and all that. Well, I never remember anyone in high school telling me about Jesus or reaching out to me, or I don't remember any Christian social clubs in school. I don't know if they just overlooked me or what it was, but I mean, I was pretty influential. But I don't remember anybody in high school reaching out to me to tell me about Jesus or even invite me to church, invite me to a youth group. And so I pretty much stuck around a crowd. It wasn't so bad that they were skipping school, but they weren't so good that they were just, you know, always in class and after school programs and all that. I stuck around kind of a medium crowd, but I was cool with both sides because I played on the basketball team. And I was always the only white boy on the basketball team. Even throughout junior high and high school, it was predominantly African American. And so I had this wide range of culture around me because most of my friends were Latino. My neighborhood was pretty much Latino. And so blacks with basketball, Latinos in my neighborhood, and then I had some white friends. You know, there was a few white guys that lived in my neighborhood, a few white girls on the cheerleading team and things like that. I went to Sam Houston High School. If any of you have ever heard of that, it's an HISD. Well, what I want to share with you is that as I was continuing to listen to hip-hop music, rap music, I liked the worst of the worst. I would go back then. See, now y'all listen to the radio and you'll hear stuff that you wouldn't have heard 10 years ago, much less 20 years ago, because there was a group of conservative people that would call the radio station and raise a fuss. I mean, they would shut it down. I would say 15 to 20 years ago. So what they did was this group of conservatives and real, you know, I would say they're Christian, but people that really were concerned about what youth were listening to, they made the record companies warn you that this music contained explicit content. Thus, the explicit label sticker was born. How many of y'all have a CD that has one of those labels on it? You don't have to worry about it. Just put your hand up. Come on, we all had one, or sometime in our life we got one. That's it. Raise your hand if you've had a CD, or maybe you've downloaded a song and it said explicit downloads. That's what I had to say. See, I knew I'd get you. But anyway, back then the explicit content sticker was put on. And so now, when you go into stores, if you want to get that explicit, raw, gritty stuff that I used to like, you had to have a parent, you know, to buy it for you. Well, my parents, they were pretty laid back. You know, they were like, hey, make good grades in school, you know, do your homework, don't get in any trouble with the law, you know, hey, you know, music, what's that gonna hurt? And so it wasn't any problem for me to get this explicit music. And remember, we weren't downloading back then. We didn't have iTunes and all these, well, what do y'all illegally download from? LimeWire. Yeah, okay. We didn't have all that. As a matter of fact, no, we weren't even really using computers. Now y'all are taught computers in school. We weren't even taught computers. I graduated in '93, I am kind of old. I'm 33, by the way. But anyway, so I look younger, right? Tell me I look younger. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, and so when I was listening to this music, I was thinking, you know, what's the big deal? It's music. Oh well, they got an explicit sticker on it. But I had a young mind, and I look back now. When I graduated, that's when I began my rap career, because I ran into a guy. His name was Reginald. He was 21 while I was 17. That's when I graduated. And he had his own studio. Got connected with him. That's when I started rapping everything that I had been hearing all of these years. Now, I didn't necessarily shoot people. I didn't stab people. But because I grew up hearing that, that's what became a part of my life, and that's what I started rapping. When I think about, did this music have an impact? Did it make me do things that I might have not done if I wouldn't have been listening to it? I look at some of the decisions that I made back then and I think, yeah, you know, this music really messed me up, because in areas that my parents didn't teach me about or talk to me about, and there were a lot of those as it related to sex or as it related to violence or topics that a lot of these rappers were talking about, inner city life, the music was addressing them. And the more I heard it, the more I listened to it, the more I began to believe it and even wanted to be like it. It influenced the way I dressed, the way I wore my hat, the way I talked to people. I mean, I cursed like crazy in high school because, like I said, that's what my music did. I didn't curse at my parents.